My investigators, Mike Evans and Caught Unawares, Casey Pine, with episode 252 of Spy Curious. Welcome along. Thanks for supporting us and watching. Say good day in the chat so Casey can see who's watching and we can see what the weather's like down in Victoria and Tasmania this week and everywhere else. So people, I'm following on now from, we've just been at Investigations Uni, and for those of you that took part, don't forget you can download your CPD, get your certificate of completion participating in that. So the link was in the description. G'day Chris, good to see you mate, enjoy that coffee. So, g'day Jamie, great to see you buddy, how's the fishing going? G'day Chantel, great to see you. Hi Megan, great to see you too. It's good to see everybody. G'day Michelle. So don't forget, get that certificate of completion from Sean. And after watching the presentation by Sean, you all know why. G'day Amber, great to see you. After watching Sean's presentation, you all now know why you have to get that certificate. G'day Lucas, good to see you, buddy. Hi Karen, great, thanks for checking in. So after watching that with Sean just before, you know why you need that for your tenders now. So that was a really great presentation, high energy, high powered, and I just don't know how to go on with it, so I'll leave you with Kate.
Brutal.
Yeah, that was pretty cruel, wasn't it? Casey, you'll get over the shock of that. Yeah. You are watching episode 252 of Spy Curious up in Queensland. G'day, Greg. Good to see you, mate. Up in Queensland, the focus is on public liability dog bites and dangerous dogs in general. It's in the news everywhere. A baby was mauled to death a few years back by a dog similar to this one. That's not the one, but all this is going through a judicial inquiry at the moment. G'day, mate. How you going? And they've had 8 fatalities from dog mauling deaths in recent years in Queensland. So that is big news up in Queensland at the moment. And as you notice, when you're studying Certificate 3 in Investigative Services, for conducting an investigation, g'day, Matty. Good to see you, mate. Great to see that photo there. Well done. In Australian Security Academy, of course, you do a public liability dog bite investigation, and a lot of people say, well, why am I doing this? It's a stock standard investigation. Now, I don't think any of the ones that are related to the inquiry at the moment are going to involve that. That's a whole different world. But when people can't go to work or have expenses from a dog attack and they're insured, that's when you'll do those public liability dog attack investigations. So that's something to be really aware of. Down in Victoria, a brother of a Victorian judge who shared child abuse material wants identity kept secret. Now, that's the brother that shared it, not the judge that shared it. That's bad editing. But he's gone for a suppression order to not have it done. And he's done a big carry on about why his name has to be suppressed because of the effect it will have on his judicial brother and the effect that it will have on his family and blah, 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 blah. And the adjudicator's looking at it, he's going, there's no remorse here. All this is about is self-preservation. So they've still got to decide on it. And I reckon quite soon you're going to find out who that really is. So that's a big one down in Victoria that's happened only this week. Something to watch out for. Please be aware, everybody, the Australian Security Academy is looking for sessional investigation instructors for Certificate 4 in Government Investigations Regulatory Compliance. Get in touch with me. Send me your resume. Please do not bring up. I have too much on to answer the phone, so please send your resume. Surveillance operative at the ProCare Group is on the cards at the moment, something to look forward to. And Pinkerton's down in Victoria looking for surveillance operatives as well. Everybody wants surveillance operatives at the moment. Already done that one. I think Quantum Corp are looking for them as well. So it's a big thing happening out there at the moment. Last week, I told you about how a regulator is playing favourites with an industry association. Now, what happened was that the regulator jumped all over the LRD and started getting heavy with them, as well as Peter Dutton, over one person in the LRD sexting All right, it was pretty bad. It wasn't good. But ibac jumped on it and got all this publicity and headlines and sounded like they were actually doing something. But now they're gone and cozied up with an industry association. ibac was bragging and grabbing headlines about nailing 2 soft lady frauds from 10 years ago, getting all the credit for it. And this was during a time when a TAFE went along with them because it was a gift horse in hard times. They had their phones tapped and their emails checked. And it was called Operation Lansdowne. Now, ibac were jumping all over that, saying, oh, you know, what a good boy am I. But now they've cozied up with the AIPI in relation to employing their staff and speaking at their association and stuff like that, when they were coming down on the LRD, who had no idea that they had to do a great job at the LRD in difficult, underfunded, under-resourced circumstances. They do a great job, and ibac came the heavy on it. Now the boot's on the other foot because ibac have cozied up with the industry association, where the investigator in his classes for peak services was taking photos of people in the group from behind without their permission at Consent Peak Services have a legal team for this sort of thing. And, you know, victim blaming was going on, and they do not do anything about sexual harassment up there. It went on. The people that were victims of it don't even know, and ibac has backed it by presenting at their associations, employing their staff, that sort of thing. It's a double standard from ibac, and it's basically castrated their ability to operate in Victoria. So and I'm going to come back in a minute. I'm going to tell you what the police term for a regulator that goes rogue and regulates selectively is. Okay, so that's coming up in a minute, something to look forward to. You'll get another term just like the joke and brick and stuff like that. Here it is. Bonencourt had those surveillance investigators. That's what I was looking before. And the Seeker Group wants you to be a factual investigator down in Victoria. Okay? G'day, Joy. Thanks for checking in. Security vetting analysts are wanted in Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane as well. Case client account manager for the LKA group down in Victoria. So you're going to be case manager for their investigations, chasing up missing photos and missing statements, all that sort of thing. All the fun of being a case manager. G'day, Ryan. It's been a while, mate. Great to see you back. Really good. Good to see you got a spare minute. Contract investigators for cyber solutions. This is Australia-wide. All your work's done online. Their head office is in Launceston in Tasmania. That's irrelevant. You can do it from your home office in Darwin, Perth, Melbourne and Sydney, wherever, if you're licensed, okay? This is a good one. Chief Executive Officer of the Victorian Registration and Qualifications Authority. Now think about this. What would you do with $7,000 a week? You pay a lot of tax, but that's what they're offering for that role. Now you might think, what's that got to do with regulatory compliance? The person Casey's been speaking to all afternoon and for the last 3 weeks used to be in that role, created a business outside of that, left it and created a business outside of it relating to regulation and qualifications, and set it all up and did a really good job of it and was so successful that he sold it. Not the regulatory authority, but the business that he created from being there. Pretty good business, isn't it, Casey?
Amazing.
Amazing. So, really amazing. And Casey's on a steep learning curve with that one, but you'll earn your $7,000 a week. SureFat Group are hiring. So get in touch with SureFat and look at this for a great opportunity. You get lifestyle and investigation role at the City of Gold Coast Council. Now, I must emphasise, this is in Queensland, City of Gold Coast, Redland Bay, Logan, they don't have the problems that Toowoomba, Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast councils have got with the Investigator taking photos of the inspectors in class without their knowledge and consent. That would not happen at Gold Coast, definitely not happen at Redland Bay, and wouldn't happen at Logan. So that's limited to those 3 or 4 areas. So they're just some of the job opportunities that are out there this week. I think I mentioned Pinkerton, certainly mentioned ProCare. To find those jobs, people, you get on the Australian Private Investigator Corporate and Government Investigation jobs page on Facebook. You have to ask to join, but there's all those jobs and more if you want to earn $7,000 a week in a regulatory compliance role and you've got a diploma of government investigation. Jump onto this page and see where that job is for the BRQA. That's enough for me, Casey. Yeah, that's enough for me, Casey. Really, this time it's definitely your turn.
Okay. Well, I actually didn't have to work too hard for this tip today because it was given to me thanks to Maddie Moore, who's a regular watcher of the show. And this is something called GeoSpy AI. I had never heard of it before today, but I thought I would test it out, and it is very cool. So it is essentially a geo-int tool, so a geo-intelligence, so figuring out if you're looking at a specific picture where this picture could possibly be. So I'm assuming that not only does it check the image against other images in their library to look at where it might be, but also it probably checks out some metadata and things like that. And this is, if you just type in GeoSpy AI, which is what I did into Google, it should come straight up. I was in Burleigh on the weekend, and that's a beautiful picture I took at, oh gosh, I think it was 5:30 in the morning when I was going for my beach walk, and chucked that in there, and it's come up country, Australia, state, Queensland, city, Gold Coast, and even gives you an explanation of what is in the photo. So the photo is taken from the beach. The skyline in the distance is the Surfers Paradise, which is a popular tourist destination in Queensland. The beach is likely located in Broadbeach, close, but not quite, which is a suburb of the Gold Coast. I mean, that's amazing. Even though it's not quite Broadbeach, 20 minutes further south at Burleigh Heads, but it is still very, very good. So remember when you are using tools like this that sometimes you can get some false positives. You always have to look at the information that you have and see if you can verify it further. You wouldn't just go, oh yeah, that's Broadbeach, I'm going ahead there. So, and there's Maddie there. It also gives you a map location, so which is really fantastic. So someone take his mouse off of them. So I really liked that. I think it's a really handy tool. If you're not trained in geointelligence or you just want to quickly put that in as a starting point, fantastic tool. As we all know that we can't necessarily rely on tools like this because either they go away because the person loses interest in that project, or they start off free and then once they've got all their machine learning and things like that in place, it becomes quite expensive. So fantastic tool. Thank you, Maddie, so much for pointing that out. I really appreciate it. And just I'll go back to, so GeoSpy AI. Throw that into Google and it'll come straight up. That's my OSINT tip of the week.
Thank you, Maddie Moore, and thank you, Casey. That's a pretty good one. That one. I want to upload that later. I like the simple ones.
Yeah.
The uncomplicated ones, the better. So what have you been doing investigation-wise this week, Casey?
I have been consulting to a startup that's looking at tackling cyberbullying in schools Australia-wide and how open source intelligence investigations can help that. I've also been just generally working on Quick Look, and I have a lot of businesses coming on board to use my identity verification technology in regards to verifying customers and clients that they interact with, that they'll never actually meet face to face, just to ensure that there's no identity theft there. They know who they're dealing with. And these are customers that don't necessarily have banks to rely on for that kind of verification. So it's really, really fun and interesting.
Very good. So it's kicking on with the quick look
Yeah.
general concept and applying it to it. That's what we talked about. Well, I didn't talk about, Sean talked about putting added value to your services in investigations uni today. And it is a very good point. So, yeah, fantastic to see. So what do you call a rogue regulator that does go rogue? The police have an actual term for it because they deal with them all the time. Now, I'm not talking about the Licensing Regulation Division here, and I'm not talking about SLED. I'm talking about the equivalent of ICAC or the CCC, that's ibac in Victoria. So what they've done is they've gone and sort of like cozied up to an industry association that's got a committee member that's done the wrong thing, and this, you know, they're just going ahead like it never happened. Over the years, we've discussed some quite interesting terminology in this program. We had the joke, that is where bent police officers manipulate the system to get away with whatever corruption they're doing, like 120 breaches of the Victorian Police Licensing Regulation Division conditions of approval. Or it might have been police in New South Wales doing something that involved ICAC or something like that. That's what the joke is. Now, a brick, as we saw in one of our previous episodes, is where police plant evidence. So basically, they're giving the suspect a brick. So today we're going to learn the actual police term for a regulator like ibac that 100% enforces on innocent hard work Victorians, public servants and police, and turns a blind eye to corruption and enabling it elsewhere. What is the term for that? I'm sure you could give it your best guess, but we'll ask an expert. Here's Megan to tell us what the term might be.
Just go with the flow.
No, it's not called going with the flow. No, that's totally not what it's called. So we're going to look at that term today and find out precisely what it is. So we've seen that last week how ibac get involved in soft investigations, grab headlines, and they have booklets they give out telling everybody else how it should be done, and they get the press and all that sort of thing to grab headlines, do soft lady frauds in TAFEs and stuff like that. It's not really investigating Mr. Biggs when you've got soft stuff like that. They get $63 million. So what is it called? Was Megan?
You gotta go with the flow, baby!
No, Megan wasn't right. Maybe Leonardo might be right.
You gotta ride with the tide, dude.
Leonardo is very, very close. So what the police call it when the regulatory authority is corrupt and turns a blind eye to that corruption is swimming with the tide. So that's what it's known as. So you have the joke, you got a brick. We've had other things as well in our vocabulary system here, but that is the internal police speak for it. It's a very difficult situation when you have one rule for one and other rules for everybody else. Now imagine a police officer pulling you over today and saying, oh, you're 5 kilometres over the speed limit, it's 60 kilometres an hour. And then tomorrow they pull you over and go, oh, you're 5 kilometres over the speed limit, it's 55 kilometres an hour. You can't do that. And that is what's being applied right now. It's confusing, it's unfair, it supports a power imbalance, which is not right, and it all involves sharing of images, one standard by ibac in one place, and a completely blind eye to it in another area, regardless of the victims. And the victims don't even know it happened. But I tell you what, if their partners, their boyfriends, their husbands, significant others, fathers, whatever they find out about it. Could be one hell of an occupational health and safety issue for the Toowoomba, Brisbane and Sunshine Coast City Councils, just because of the actions of one person. Can't be done. So people, we've had a very busy week, and I must emphasise, if you've been invited to it, jump over and watch the replay of Sean Delaney's presentation today in relation to winning tenders. Now, Sean explained during that presentation some of the myths. And the first myth he debunked was only big companies win tenders. People think, oh, I won't go for this tender because MSS Security or Wilson Security, they will win, or PricewaterhouseCoopers or Ernst Young or PKF or one of the big ones will win this tender in investigations. That's not true. It's far from true. Organisations such as TAC, WorkSafe, other corporations that engage investigators through tenders try to buy locally. They try to use smaller investigation firms where they can. The whole purpose of a tender is to vet the supplier of services. And you will see that when you go and watch Sean's presentation. That's the first one of a 3-part series on tenders. We're going deeper into it later on. And don't forget, download your certificate of completion, along with all your other ones from that CPD program that we have for Investigations Uni. Members of Investigation Uni are also members of AIRLAP, so they're members of an industry association. And that's one of the next things we're going to be talking about when Sean comes back for his second presentation in that area. So people, tenders are a reality of how investigations agencies win business. They win the CTP liability contract for the State Government of Western Australia, or the Motor Accidents Insurance Board of Tasmania, or similar green slip board in New South Wales. They win the work cover tender, or they might win a corporate tender for bullying, harassment and code of conduct investigations. So all these opportunities you can hear about and see in Investigations Uni, episode number 79. I give you a warning, it's fast-paced, it's high energy. It takes a lot of keeping up with. And if you ever wanted to know about showing your product in use intelligently in a tender like the marketers do, Sean gives you the tip. That's also about how to express added value. Now, the good thing about Sean, the tenders, is he'll do it all for you. All you have to do is give him the information. So that saves you hours. When I do a tender, I slave over it for a week, maybe even more. And if it's something that you really want to get into, you want to win a contract because you've built your business, you've got a couple of other investigators on board with you, you could be just like some of those organisations that you see here every week who we promote, that they have job vacancies. So LKA, SureFact, Cyber Solutions, Quantum Corp, Seeker Group, they all have those vacancies as a result of winning tenders and supplying investigation services to government departments and corporations all around Australia. If you go back a few episodes of Spy Curious, you'll see me talking to Pat Henderson in relation to how they go about the same sort of thing and how he writes tenders, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of information if you go through some of the past episodes of Spy Curious that will help you with that, apart from Sean's presentation as well. Casey, we've got to run. We've got a fair bit on.
Yep.
I don't know how you found the time.
That's okay. Come on and say hi.
Yeah. Just to let everybody know you're still here.
Yeah, I'm still alive. Not a deep fake. Not yet.
So, people, thanks for watching. You've been watching episode 252 of Spy Curious. That's Australia's only weekly private, corporate and government investigation weekly news in association with Investigations Uni and Airlap. And we'll see you again next week. Bye, people. Thanks for watching.
See you, everyone. Have a great week.